second. I'll be right with you. I swear I was just holding Dandelion. Must have been that elf from before. Never let a customer hold your wares. My apologies and well met. It seems I've lost one of my cards to theft today, so you'll have to forgive me if I come across a little brash. It's just that I was searching for that card for so long. I hadn't had it longer than a week. But I digress. Welcome to my store, where you will find the rarest Gwent playing cards north of the Ponta. And I can say that with confidence. I know the other so-called Gwent traders work in Velen, and you'll not find anything better than a black infantry archer amongst their collection. So, what brings you in today? You don't look like an Oxenford local. A southerner, perhaps? I've heard tell of some incredible happenings around Velen lately. I believe that Geralt of Rivia, the infamous monster hunter, has actually just passed through Oxenford on his way to Novigrad right now. And the bloody Baron, dead, hanged himself, they say. I know he was an evil man, but I've heard that those under him are even worse. I worry for the common men and women of Crow's Perch. But you never said who you were. Sorry, I just get so caught up in worldly gossip that I almost forget to do my job sometimes. Oh, of course, you're here for the Gwent tournament at the Three Little Bells tonight. I've had a few others come in that were here for that very reason too. Most for information, actually. Has anyone bought anything new? I guess they were trying to gain an information advantage for the tournament. I hear the prize pool is 10,000 orens, so I can understand why. So, let me ask you then, how badly do you want to win? Because I have some very powerful cards that you might be interested in acquiring. Yes? Yeah, I thought so. You had an ambitious look about you. I could tell as you walked in. These cards won't be cheap, but I can promise you that they're worth every penny. But we'll talk the cost after I've run through the cards. I actually have an interesting thought regarding that, but we'll discuss that later. I am guessing you play Northern Realms? As I thought, you're a true patriot. We must stick together in these dark times, and for many of us who can't take a sword and axe against the might of Nilfgaard, we must show our loyalty in other ways. Not that it matters, because the cards I have can be used in any deck, such is their power. So let me start with one of my most treasured. It is Geralt himself. I believe this is the most powerful card in the game, along with Ciri, if we're talking about raw strength. While it cannot be doubled in strength by a Commander's Horn, if you play this card early in a turn, you can really force the opponent's hand and force them to play multiple cards for just that one that you played. It is truly a must-have for any serious Gwent player, but it is extremely rare and very few have them in their possession. I believe Geralt himself uses this card. No wonder he is as successful in Gwent as he is in monster slaying and womanizing. So, next up, I have Ciri. As I mentioned before, her and Geralt make up the two most powerful offensive cards when played alone. I think it's worth having both of them in your deck. Play them both early in the second round game and watch your opponent squirm. Not even weather effects can affect these cards. It's another reason why I simply love the legendary cards and why I choose to play the weather ruling Foltest as my deck leader. Let the opponent play as many impenetrable fogs and torrential rains as they want, and then at the last moment, Foltest strikes and the day is clear. Truly as great and powerful a card as he was a king. May he rest in peace. Okay, so I can tell that you are interested in those, but they are a bit similar. So let's move on to something completely different. Here I have Avalanche. Now I have to say, I think spy cards are my favorite cards in the game. I like to have several of them in my deck, but this one is truly the most powerful of them all. You can play him for absolutely zero benefit to the opponent, whereas most spy cards will give them a slight strength advantage. But even more dangerous is their ability to then use target dummy to gain it as their own. This card can simply not be removed from the board or add to their strength. I wouldn't enter a tournament without it, personally. Next on offer, I have the sorceress Yennefer. Though I have not met her, I have heard tales of her alluring appearance, masking her truly magnificent powers. And her card is no different. This card, along with being a 7 strength and changeable legendary, also has the medic power. You can raise the dead from their graves, and ideally you will play this card in the second round when there are cards in your graveyard to resurrect. Spy cards that your opponent has played the previous turn are brilliant to resurrect, as it will give you 2 cards from your deck rather than just bringing something back to the board. I believe this card can really catch your opponent out and can turn a losing battle in your favor in the blink of an eye. This next card has a name that most cannot speak. Villentretenmerth. Another 7 strength legendary with a power that's truly terrifying. It has an inbuilt scorch effect in the card itself. With 1 turn, you can place an irremovable offensive unit on the battlefield and remove their strongest unit at the same time. You should save this card for deep into your turn, perhaps the final moment of a game. Even when your opponent has used all of their strength and has a large battlefield down. If they have more than 1 unit of equal strength, which is quite common at the end of a round, it will remove them all at once. I have seen this card win games which seem completely lost. I truly believe that with this card in your deck, no game is completely lost if you manage to draw it. Another reason to pack your deck with spy cards, to maximize your chance of being able to make these game-changing plays towards the end of a match. And believe me, in these high-stake Gwent tournaments, you need as many chances to win as possible. It won't be only you with a deck full of legendaries, that's for sure. And now, the final card I have to offer is Imrelith. Now, with the rumor of the Wild Hand themselves descending from the skies like lightning and striking villages across the land, This card might be a little controversial at the moment, but I believe it's still worth having it in your deck as another strong offensive option. Yes, it's a monsters only card. You won't be able to use it in your beloved Northern Realms composition, but any self-respecting Gwent master can switch factions when needed. You never know when you'll need to draw upon the hordes of beasts contained in the monster's faction. The call to arm traits that their minion carry is an absolute nuisance to play against, so I highly recommend having a second faction going into this tournament. I am as worried as anyone about the Wild Hunt. I had a friend in Heatherton, which I now hear was pillaged by the Wild Hunts themselves just the other day. One thing I've learned though is that you cannot let personal prejudice get in the way of a tournament winning deck composition. This card, I believe, is essential. The White Hand is not the most popular subject to discuss at the best of times, so just expect to receive a few disapproving looks when you play it, that's all. Okay, so you've seen the cards. Now, normally, to buy all 6 of them would be impossible for most people. I'm talking 6 figures. Even the most wealthy of Gwent aficionados would be hesitant paying for all 6 at once. Though you have an ambitious look about you, and I like the makeup of your deck. Plenty of spies and the user Foltest. You remind me of me once upon a time. I actually have an idea. I cannot enter the tournament myself, as I was expelled from all Gwent tournament for life a year ago. They thought me to be a cheat. It couldn't be further from the truth. Do you consider a well-researched battle preparation cheating? All I did was hire a few spies to gather information on the cards opponent would be using. Nowhere is it stated to be illegal. Regardless, I can no longer be seen at a competitive table if I value my head. You, though, you could play in my stead. Your deck is similar to what mine once was, though you're just missing a few finishing touches, which I can provide you. The killer touch, if you will. I believe the tournament prize is 10,000 orens. If I give you these cards on loan for one night, we split the winnings 50-50. What do you think? Great, it's a deal then. I'm getting a rush just thinking about it. You simply must take note of every turn, every play, and recount it to me when you return tomorrow. And you will return, of course. If the thought of disappearing with my cards even crossed your mind, then I'd advise you to walk away right this minute. As well as selling cards, I provide special alchemical ingredients to the sorceresses of Novigrad. They may be an oppressed species at the moment in history, what with Radovit's paranoia infecting the general populace, but they have not lost any of their power. I will have you found with a click of my finger And you do not want to be locked in a dungeon, staring at an angry Triss Marigold. But I don't think you'd ever consider doing something like that, would you? Take the cards then and hurry along. The tournament is due to start soon, so I'll be seeing you tomorrow. And I'm expecting these pockets of yours to be jingling with the sounds of orange. Goodbye now.